It's my pleasure today to host this amazing panel, something that's really quite interesting to myself, and I'm sure will be very interesting to you all, because it's actually applicable to everyone with a human body. So, any human bodies in here today? A few. For sure. So we're going to be chatting about the future of wellness. And I have the pleasure of being joined on stage with three incredible people who are leading different brands and different facets, providing services that will help all of us, all of you, and the rest of the world to have be able to take care of our bodies in the most significant ways. And we're going to chat about how that's also evolving in the future of this industry. So before we really dig into it, actually, let me introduce myself one more time. Celeste Hubbard. I'm the president of Hecho Studios. We're a content and production studio based in Los Angeles. And I'm also super duper inquisitive. So I love talking about all things and really digging into the meat of it. So we'll do that today. Dr. Leary, why don't we start with you? Tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
I'm the CEO and founder of Remedy Place. It's the world's first social wellness club. So it's a whole entire club that's centered around holistic self-care, but it's made to enhance your health and your social life at the same time. So it's not like a spa where you go and isolate yourself in each room. Everything there is made to be social. We call it social self-care, but it's a substitute on how people normally socialize. So where they take a date, where they have a meeting, where they meet their friends after work, where they have an event, a birthday, I mean, you name it. And then my background is in sports medicine, so I opened up my practice in 2015, and it was a non-surgical, non-drug approach to surgery prevention and chronic pain rehabilitation.
Love that. I don't think any one of us are trying to actually have surgery, so anything we can do to prevent it is key. And Dana, would you mind?
Hi, I'm Dana Miller. I'm head of marketing for Yes2, which is a legacy skincare brand that really was one of the first to bring natural ingredients into the mass market into the US, and very fitting to today's topic. The goal is now how to evolve that into not just using natural ingredients, but really a full wellness story with products that you can feel good about using.
And like we discussed, I think a couple days ago, Yes2 is the brand that I see all the time in Target when I'm shopping around with my daughter. Her first stop is the beauty section, so. And Amy.
Yes. Hey, it's so great to be here. Add on at the last minute. Thank you, Pearl. I'm the founder of Origin Holistic Spirits, which the origin of something new, a new direction in spirits for the next generation of drinkers. So basically, it's a holistic product. We had 4 years of research and development to create the first truly organic, wellness-driven cocktail spirit. And, we can't make health claims. I do have a background in plant science, and I'm a financial advisor, but I did build a wellness business over 10 years. And there wasn't anything on the market that was using innovation with alcohol and phytonutrients that could be stabilized in alcohol. And it was something that I wanted for me, and I didn't see it on the market. So I was kind of like, okay, for the second half of my life, what am I going to do? I'm going to tackle this opportunity. And, opportunities are rare. And it's just they come unannounced. And if you want to build a business and nobody else is doing it, I was very compelled to bring this forward. And I'm so happy to share with you guys the science today and how it fits into the wellness category, believe it or not, even though it's alcohol.
I love that. Actually, we're going to talk on the ability, or frankly inability, to make claims in this space, which is really a challenge in where you are today, but hopefully we'll see that evolving over time. Also, I'll just point out that each of you represent three important facets of my life: spa, self-care, beauty, and frankly socializing over a nice beverage. So as we get started here, my first question for you all, frankly, is, where do you think the wellness industry is today, and how is that influencing each of your businesses and how you operate at the moment in terms of trends, in terms of what you're seeing in the industry overall? Start with you, Amy, or Dr. Leary?
Yeah, I think right now in the world, people just don't feel well, mentally and physically. And I think in modern healthcare, we've made a lot of advancements. But in those advancements, it's really focusing on strengths in keeping people alive and in saving them in emergency settings. But what it hasn't done is make people healthy. So I really focus on self-care, focusing really on the preventative side, because it's the fastest way to make people feel good. And that is the biggest problem in the world that I see.
And I think it's interesting with that point, wellness, if you go back, when people talk about wellness and self-care, they oftentimes be like, oh, take a bubble bath or put on a face mask. And that's nice and that's great, but how can we expand that into other facets of our life? And how can we make wellness, is it convenience? If your life can be easier and smoother, is that a way you get wellness? If I can feel better about the spirits that I'm drinking, is that wellness? So looking in the skincare space, a lot of what we're seeing in wellness is about making it easier to find the right product so you feel better about what you're using. And giving people better solutions versus trying to fit them into a mold that, you're not 1, 2, or 3. There's a lot more diversity there.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, certainly during the pandemic, people, they did drink more. And so as we were developing this product, we were observing what was happening, and people, they're not going to stop drinking, right? So how are we going to create something that people can trust? And I think there was a lot of lack of trust in the wellness space over the last few years. I have a master's in biotechnology from Johns Hopkins, and I got a lot of inside information really on what was going on with the lack of trust in people with just medicine in general. People are taking control of their health in a totally new way. I love what Remedy Place is doing. I actually had an opportunity to go and see what Jonathan's company is doing. People want better options, you guys, and they're looking for them. And they don't trust necessarily the big institutions anymore. So this is an opportunity for business for all of us to be in a place where I love the purpose-driven marketing concept, because there's a rise in consumer consciousness right now that we've never seen before in history. And this is something, as business builders, as marketing strategists, is to focus on that rise in consciousness. And it's like, how do we take care of ourselves? How do we take care of our fellow man and actually move more softly on the planet? So doing your meditation, doing your yoga, taking care of your mental health. But adding alcohol into that, people have stress around the idea that maybe I'm drinking too much, and we saw that during the pandemic. So we all have an opportunity to educate, and we have to share what we learn with other people. We can't just keep these things to ourselves. So like everything you're learning here that you feel inspired by, that's another level of wellness, is that communication that we're all having to help each other. And I think that's the rise of consciousness, is helping your fellow man. And I think that's huge in marketing in the wellness space right now.
I love that you touch on that, because the purpose-driven marketing panel, it's so important, and it's interesting that it's like a rising trend in our industry, and really it should be the brass tacks. And I think each of you represent companies who are innovative in your spaces and started from a purpose-driven place. I'd love to hear maybe how, and this wasn't part of our prior conversations, but if you could maybe click a little bit deeper in what each of your brand's purposes really are, the core of them are, perhaps.
Yeah, our goal is just to make people feel better. I think healthcare right now, we've made people fully dependent on our healthcare professionals and just reactive. And we really need to teach people how to be independent and proactive. And foundational pillars of health are really simple, but no one knows. And it's crazy that your number one asset being your body, no one's ever given you the instruction manual to. So if you don't even know how your body works, how you're supposed to heal and take care of yourself. So the end goal of Remedy is just to be a free educational platform to teach people how to take care of themselves. Because it is quite simple, but it doesn't matter who you are, where you are in the world, people just don't know, and they're right now trying, and they're trying to figure out, and I see so many patients that are on so many regimens, spending so much money, and they're doing it incorrectly, and that kills me. Because, it's like people are trying to take control, and they're still doing it the wrong way. So that's what we're all about.
And what I I joined the Yes2 team about 6 months ago. When I look back at the original decks and going back to why the brand was built in 2006, and I think in so many spaces and beauty a lot right now, why is your brand here? Is there a purpose you're serving? Is there a need you're serving? Are you unique, or are you just more chatter, more clutter? Yes2 was founded because no one was doing good skincare with natural ingredients well. And so that's where it came from. It came from this place of taking cucumbers and tomatoes, and originally the brand was called Yes to Carrots, and all the products had carrots in them, and really understanding what nutrients come from plants and come from the foods we eat, and how can we use that for our skincare. What's interesting now is, what does that mean today? Because we opened up this space in 2006. Since then, a lot of people have joined in. So what I'm really excited to do now with the brand is, what's the next level? What's the next level of, okay, we have good ingredients. I'm really excited about the things I'm seeing in the Web3 space in terms of like blockchain. Like, now there are brands that are taking their supplier information, so you can now go and see traceability of how your products are sourced and how your ingredients are sourced, or who the farmers are that are getting there. And we're not there today, but that's one of the things I'm so excited about for Yes2 of the future, is build on this identity. That's the reason we're here, but update it to what's needed for today.
That's incredible, and I love that the foundation of your brand is plant-based. It's very similar to Origin Holistic Spirits.
It is, and definitely the purpose of our brand is to nourish, wellness in every aspect of life. One of those aspects is your cocktail experience, right? And also the planet at the same time. So we look at our ingredients very seriously. We actually have a chief sustainability officer. We're a little brand. We just launched 5 months ago. But we have somebody that's certified B Corporations. He's amazing. So he's doing our whole supply chain checklist, and I loved what the panel talked about earlier. Actually, it was Vivian that talked about, using technology, the Web3 technology, to be able and bring forth these ideas that we don't even know yet, right? How are we going to utilize to be able to show and build trust in your brand? Because I think that's the most important thing, is building trust, so that people can just pick up a bottle off the shelf and know that this is going to be better than anything else that's going to be available to them. Right now, there's no labels at all on alcohol. You don't have to label alcohol. So people go to Whole Foods, they go to the store, they buy, they read their food labels, and then they go to the liquor store and they buy, Tito's, okay? The #1 selling vodka, which is made from GMO corn. It's a Monsanto, but they think it's gluten-free, so it's good. But the reality is that most people have no clue, so we have to educate them. So the purpose of our brand is to be an educational platform, to be able to show people that there is a better way to do this part of your life, right? Our first brand is a vodka. We're developing a gin. We're developing low alcohol. We're developing non-alcohol as well, non-alcoholic products. So we're the first company. Hopefully we'll make it. Because when you launch something new, right, and it's plant-based, it has artichoke leaf from France, has elderberry extract from Austria, green tea from China, and muscadine grape from the American South. It's 7th-generation farm. We've done this took 4 years to figure this thing out, okay? But the bottom line is, you guys, there is a better way to put alcohol in your body. So just know that, learn about it, read about it. We're the first ones, and the purpose is to get this out to the world, and hopefully we'll survive, and we put our toe in the water, and we're going to do this, and we just need some support for people to talk about that there are better ways to do things.
Education is so important in terms of this topic. You talked about it, Dr. Leary, in the sense that we don't have instruction manuals for our body. Oftentimes, myself included, we're just kind of like, that thing looks interesting, maybe it'll work for me, let's test it out. Prior to this panel today, we even talked about functional medicine and how that is so specific to each of our bodies. Amy, you just discussed the fact that there isn't nutritional information on alcohol bottles, and that's wild, frankly. So for me, I'm just like, what can we all do to ensure that we are doing the best for each of our individual bodies? Wellness and health is so personalized. Is there anything that your brands and your businesses are doing to ensure that what you're providing is customized and personalized to your audiences.
Yeah, everything we do at Remedy is rooted in science. So everything's clinically proven to make you feel better. But I think it goes well beyond just making people feel good. When we're dealing with certain conditions or want to be preventative for not, getting those, we do a thing called functional medicine. You go to your medical doctor to get diagnostic blood work. That tells you if you're sick or you're not sick. Functional medicine is a series of blood tests that will give us a full blueprint of the entire body, how every organ's functioning, every system, every toxicity level, sensitivity, gut health. There's a panel for everything, and then you can take all that evidence and then create a specific plan to fix all those imbalances. And it's amazing because it's not only an educational tool to teach you how to take care of yourself, but it doesn't matter what you're dealing with, this gets to the root cause or prevents something from happening that you're trending towards. And the success with all my patients, it's been insane. I started with just sports medicine, and the next thing I was treating gastrointestinal problems, autoimmune conditions, cancer, and all these other things, because at the end of the day, no matter what you're dealing with, you still should have this alternative approach, and you should still figure out what lifestyle changes you need to make things better.
And in the beauty space, I think what's interesting is when you think about the customer in terms of customization, there's two questions that always come up. It's, does it work, and what's for me? And figuring out for them, how personalized can you get? There's now pods you can do and tests you can do and have your own machine at home and formulate literally your own product in your home. Obviously, that's at a cost that's not attainable for a lot of people. And then there's products like Yes To that you can buy in Target and in Walmart. So my goal is, how do I still give you an idea of customization? How do I make a product and a regimen and educate on that regimen building so you can figure out those right steps for you and customize to your skin, even if you're not getting to, play chemist at home?
Yeah, definitely the future is in personalization. Obviously we're not going to make each alcohol for each person based on their DNA, but we know that the body, like Jonathan was talking about, if you do, one of the things I highly recommend is doing DNA testing. So you can really see what your genes do or don't do in terms of your body's ability to detox. So it's not that expensive anymore. I think it's like not even $1,000, I don't know. There's a company called Genova Diagnostics. Absolutely phenomenal. It'll tell you if your body turns on phase 2 detoxification, which is how you detoxify alcohol. So our brand, we did 4 years of research. We actually hired scientists. We filed patents on our first product, the Origin vodka. And we know the certain genes that the vodka, that our product will turn on or off. And you will actually be able to know, we obviously aren't going to personally test each person, but what we know is we have something called oxidative stress. So it's less free radicals in your body, but everybody's body is different and it metabolizes alcohol differently. So it was really important to kind of know that about yourself if you are a drinker, because some people don't have the ability within their, each organ has its own ability to up or down regulate genes that may or may not help you fight free radicals, which are what are from toxicity, right? We don't want our cells to die. But if you don't have the certain genes that would have your body more ably do that, it would be helpful to not drink as much, right? So this is the kind of information that people are going to be able to get, but the doctors aren't going to tell you anything about this because they have no clue about that these tests even exist. So you have to be your own health advocate, and I highly recommend doing personalized medicine, functional nutrition, functional medicine. Your body's a computer system. It has an input and an output. You put in a cheeseburger, you get one output. You put in a superfood smoothie, you get another output. There's no science to that. It just is what it is, okay? You're an animal, and your body's going to react a certain way. So most health problems, and when we saw the panels up here earlier, you think about all the health issues, you guys, most of these things could be mitigated if we just took the right steps to be able to help all communities, right, on the planet. So again, we have to be our own advocates when it comes to our wellness and also our drinking patterns as well.
Well, I love that you touched on personalization as a trend for the future of this particular category. What other trends do you guys anticipate you will be responding to or activating against, let's just say in the next year? Because 5 years is a lifetime, as we've seen. So what do you think is next, and how are you looking to implement it in your brands and businesses?
Yeah, I think there's two big ones for us. It's really giving people a healthy experience for their social life. I think how we normally connect with other humans, which human connection is the most important form of self-care. I mean, research now shows, we always thought isolation was affecting mental health, but now through the pandemic, we've proved that isolation's actually breaking down physical health. So we're made to be around humans. Just most things we do when we socialize are filled with temptation and toxins. So it's hard to have deeper connections when you're doing things to your body that are negatively enhancing your physiology. So our goal is really just to create those social substitutions, because not only is it going to help with the benefit of the treatment, but it's also going to help with the relationship of whoever you're doing it with. And then I think the education for health independence. I think any brand or company that's pushing people to give them the tools on how they take care of themselves, that is what people really want right now.
What about you, Dana?
Yeah, that's great. It's hard to think about what's happening next year, because I'm going to get back to like 2025 planning when I get back to my computer. So I'm like, but okay, 2023. I think 2023 in wellness and beauty, I think it's following a lot of the same principles, and it's more accountability, more transparency, feeling better about what you're doing. And to everything you both have been saying, it's knowledge, it's education. What am I putting on my skin? What am I putting in my body? How do I feel about that? How am I making those choices? And what resources do I have to make those choices better? So a lot of what I'll be focusing on is, yes, delivering products that meet the need gaps that my consumer insights are telling me that they need products to solve certain problems, but also what information is she looking for? How is she looking to receive it? Where is she looking to buy it? Because a lot of what I'm seeing on the research side is, for her, that wellness piece is also fitting into her lifestyle in a convenient way and not making wellness stressful. So how can I take some of the stress out of that process for her?
And definitely the experiential component is huge right now. And so bringing people together like at venues like this, people are just craving human connections again. So we're building, we have a whole calendar for 2023 of events that we're activating. And we're testing out different markets right now because, theoretically, everyone could be a consumer of our product, but we're still trying to find that niche. And so we're testing a lot of it out here. We're doing some of the Bit Basil and some of the sort of NFT space. We did Nolcha. We've done some different events with the younger community, and it's really resonating with younger people. And again, it's those experiences that people are looking for. But we also went on a private boat last night with people in their 60s that are all they were going to go to the Casamigos Reposado, and then they had the Origin next to it, and within an hour everybody was drinking Origin in a cocktail glass on the rocks without any sugar added or anything added to it, because people want cleaner stuff. But it's those experiences. We're going to be out there working in the one-on-one. We're back to work again. My husband and I were retired, and we're back, and just hitting the pavement. And I think that's really what we all need to be doing. And even you heard it from the people with these huge companies. They're out there in the field, right, getting in front of people, because that's what we all need to do to elevate our companies right now, is get in front of people and create those beautiful experiences for people to be together again.
Retirement looks a little different. That's wonderful, though. Well, I love that you touched on experiential activations and marketing, because, back to the earlier part of our conversation, there are challenges when it comes to the ability to make claims in the wellness space and to be able to market your services and products, especially when the industry really hasn't been built to, verify the data that you're seeing, since we come from a very healthcare-centric country, I guess. So how are you guys really managing your ability to really speak to the solutions and the ability for your services to solve problems if you don't have the ability to make core claims?
Yeah, this is obviously a difficult one for me. Everything within alternative medicine or even these self-care experiences, a lot of them have been around forever, but there's always been this taboo around alternative medicine or these holistic treatments, and it's honestly sad. I mean, this whole industry hasn't had the platform or the capital to really be able to push as much research or use their platform to teach people and educate. And I've had my practice for 7 years. I've seen through my own clinical evidence what works, what doesn't work. Now with Remedy, we're reaching a lot more people every single day. So right now, the best way for it to spread is for people to go, experience, feel that it works, know that it works, especially when people have been struggling for something for so long, and then they're like, oh, wow, this is real. But it is hard. I mean, we had a big interview with, oh my God, which one was it? With a big publication, maybe I shouldn't even say. There's a beautiful article, and when I submitted it, the editor's boss or superior said, hey, there's no research that backs up these claims. So I spent all night until like 3:30 in the morning finding all the top research that just has been published within the past 2 years. And the article was published the next week, and the last paragraph was, although these claims have been stated, there's nothing that backs them with clinical evidence. And I was like, this is a shame, because you're a major platform, and you should be using that platform to show people that this stuff does work. And it's an uphill battle, but that's why Remedy's here to hopefully be the size of a Nike or something large, so that we can use that platform and the money that we make to fund research for alternative medicine and show people that there is science behind these things.
A little bit different in the beauty and cosmetic world. We've got lots of regulations, and there's distinct buckets of what I can say, what I can't say. And the challenge that then poses is, okay, I know how to stay within the lines, but we're all staying within the same lines for the most part. How do I let you know how we're different? How do we actually engage in a different way? If, you could probably look at any beauty company and do a search of their, what claims they're making. They're all probably making like 75% the same claims. So how do you show someone something is different? How do you show that you're actually different or better or providing more of a solution when, even though we have regulations, but it almost kind of does a little bit the opposite and makes you say all the same things, so you don't know as a consumer how to judge for yourself between brands?
No, it's a huge problem, and it's also an opportunity, right? Because if you learn how to push the envelope in the right way, at a time in history right now when people know they need to take control over their own health, and when we talk about that lack of trust in the government, in medicine, in the pharmaceutical industrial complex, that is absolutely impossible to break through. There's just way too much money involved there for research to come into the kinds of things, the biohacking things that a lot of us are doing that we know work, right? Because we're not taking medication, because my husband and I go to the doctor and they're like, you guys aren't taking medication? We don't take any medication. There's how few people in their 60s and 70s don't take medication? Because we're doing the biohacking things. With the alcohol, it's absolutely impossible to make any claims. So the TTB and the FDA regulate alcohol. So we know that the consumer is looking for better ingredients, right? The consumer wants better ingredients, cleaner ingredients. So we're at a time in history when we can talk about the ingredients. We can't talk about the benefits of the ingredients, but we can talk about ingredients. Consumers are more educated, but we have to push to make change, so we're going right to the edge with what we're saying. We can't say health, but we can say wellness. We could say the word holistic It's the name of our company. Like, I was blown away that they let us use that word. I thought they were going to get rid of that. They wouldn't let us use superfood. No way. You can't put superfood on an alcohol label, right? So there's things you can and can't do, but we're getting better at pushing, all of us. We need to push this information out to the world. We are in a health crisis, right? We know we are, and we have to be a part of the solution, and that is being your own advocate and definitely knowing that the system is broken and it's not on your side. Period. End of story. It's not on your side from a medical perspective. The doctors aren't educated on wellness. They don't even have to take nutrition classes. You guys have to be your own advocate when it comes to everything that you do in your life. And the good news is we're at a place and time in history that's the best time in the world to be in wellness, because it's like the new frontier. And you're going to see more and more information available on genetics, genomics. Everything you can do is going to be available, and it's going to be Web3, and we're going to have all this amazing stuff, like literally in the next 10 years. You probably could live to be 100. No, everyone in this room could easily live to be 100 based on all the stuff that's happening. So just know that the future is here, and just be excited about, be your own be an advocate for yourself and do the research, because like Jonathan did in one day for maybe the New York Times or whatever it was, whatever that periodical was, hopefully Forbes magazine or something. But anyway, so, don't trust anything, okay? That's the bottom line.
Core message. No. Well, my goal is to live to 125, so I keep telling my husband that, and he's like, why would you want? I'm like, trust me, I'm going to do it. I love that, we are in this space where information is literally at our fingertips. So as individuals, we can, potentially learn as much as we can of these topics that already exist on the platforms and in the internet, what have you. But when it comes to accessibility, can you guys speak to that in terms of your products and, being able, I know with Remedy Place, it's located in Los Angeles, it's located in New York. I'm sure you have expansion plans already, but I'd love to hear how that plays into your plans for the future of your brands and even where it is today.
Yeah, I mean, with Remedy, it's a luxury service and a luxury experience, but what we want to do, the goal isn't to create 1 million clubs, it's to create the platform. And like I was saying before about foundational health, foundational pillars of health are free. People just don't understand. Like understanding nutrition, anything you put in your body is either fueling or fighting disease. It doesn't matter what your budget is, we can figure out and teach you what those choices need to be, especially if you're dealing with a health concern. Same thing with pain. This whole fitness industry has erupted, and the best way to ever get someone pain-free is to restore proper motion, but people don't know how to move. And then with mental health, like breath work and meditation and all of these things that we know work, they cost nothing. But we just need to use our platform to be that free education that can show anyone in the world how to take care of themselves.
Accessibility was one of the tenets that the Yes2 brand was really built on. At the time, there weren't as many options in terms of natural skincare. So the original pillars of the brand were using natural ingredients that actually work at a price you don't have to feel guilty about. So part of what we're doing and everything we do as we innovate, both from a product standpoint, a marketing standpoint, channel distribution, it still has to fit into those 3 core beliefs.
Yeah, and accessibility for us, we're a small brand, and it's very expensive to launch an alcohol brand. So we have to be very strategic in the markets that we're in, but we have direct-to-consumer was the first thing we set up. So we're available in 40 states, direct-to-consumer. It's amazing. It's so easy, but most consumers don't buy alcohol online. So we're training people a little. The pandemic helped with that quite a bit, like with Drizzly, shipped to your home, that kind of thing. So people are getting more into that. But we are at a price point where we want people to be able to afford to buy this. So we are a premium brand, but we're not going to the super premium price point that we could based on what our functional benefits and how actually delicious and how much money we've spent developing the brand. But we want to be in a price point of around $35. Now that might sound like for vodka, that's a premium, that's a Grey Goose kind of price. But we could have been like $50, okay? But we're not, because we want to be accessible. accessible. We want to be able to have this available for people to enjoy and share with their family and be able to have anyone be able to do that.
That's wonderful. All right, well, thank you guys so much. I'm going to open up to the floor for any questions from our audience.
This question is for Amy. When I think about what consumers want with alcohol and even just being social, health doesn't seem to be a need state that would correlate. And so how do you overcome that from a marketing standpoint? And the reason that I ask is I'm working with a vegan chocolate company, and I said, you have to be really careful with saying vegan, because I think while it's a core benefit for her, it's very niche, and people associate vegan with probably not tasting good, and so and so it's like it's a delicate balance. And I'm just wondering, as a brand, how do you overcome that hurdle of people drink to be social?
Right. Well, so one of the really interesting data points we learned was that people that actually work out and are more healthy actually have a higher probability of having 5 drinks a week, which is really interesting. So we learned that people actually that drink actually, this is a younger audience that I'm talking about, which is the target audience for us, that they actually are thinking about their health when they're drinking, believe it or not, which is why tequila has blown up, because it's low glycemics, okay, less calories, and has like it's sort of Tito's came first with like the gluten-free thing, and then the tequila thing happened. And so it's just right there in front of you. And the vegan thing today is not a bad thing. So I would not perceive vegan as yucky tasting. To me, I think you go all in, okay? People are I could put vegan on my bottle because, all alcohol is vegan. But from a marketing perspective, I think that's a positive thing, personally. Yeah, it is. Yes, mass, right. But so you have to ask yourself, are you going for a mass audience? That's the question, right? So who is your target? Is it mass? Ours, we could go mass, but we're not going to do that. We have to stay in the wellness, sort of health-activated consumer that has 5 cocktails a week, goes out with their friends, has a drink after work. Women are drinking more. They're having martinis. Women go out. All the women are working today. So we're going after that sort of health-activated workaholic person, basically. That they would like vegan chocolate too. And I'd love to taste yours.
All right. Anyone else?
I think I smell a vodka chocolate collaboration at Remedy Spa with some face masks from Yes To.
Actually, that's my takeaway from this health and wellness session is that we should start ordering in alcohol. As healthy and wellness as it would be. All right. Thank you, guys. That was great. All right.